Hello guys, so now we shall be discussing regarding a rhinencephalon. Okay, what are the structures that are present within the rhinencephalon? And remember one very important thing, that rhinencephalon is useful for the smell, right? So it is also called as olfaction. So the olfaction or the sense of smell is done by the structures that are located within, are carried out by the structures that are located within this rhinencephalon. So let us see, there are many structures regarding this rhinencephalon. So within this rhinencephalon, what all structures are there? First of all, we shall write down those structures, and then I will show each and every structure in two diagrams which I will draw. Okay. So first of all, let us see what are the structures that are located within the rhinencephalon. Okay. So a topic of discussion would be regarding rhinencephalon. Now, what is this rhinencephalon? First of all, what is this rhinencephalon is that, if you have attended my previous lectures, in these previous lectures, I have already told you that we have got three types of brain. What are these three parts? Prosencephalon, mesencephalon, as well as rhombencephalon. So, prosencephalon is also called as what? Forebrain. So, let us say there is something called as prosencephalon. Okay, there is something called as prosencephalon. So, prosencephalon is also called as your forebrain, right? So, prosencephalon is also called as your forebrain, right? This prosencephalon is divided into three different parts. Okay, prosencephalon is divided into three different parts. What are those three different parts of the prosencephalon? One is called as telencephalon. What is your telencephalon? Your cerebral hemispheres, all of them come under telencephalon. Next one you have is rhinencephalon. After rhinencephalon, the last part you have is your diencephalon. So you have got three important parts over here. One is called as your telencephalon, another one is called as your rhinencephalon, and next one you call is your diencephalon. So we have already discussed regarding this telencephalon as well as diencephalon. Now our topic of discussion will be mainly concentrated on the rhinencephalon. So what are the structures that are located within this rhinencephalon? We shall discuss right now. Okay. Now regarding this rhinencephalon, there are many different structures, and all these structures are responsible for only one function, that is olfaction or sense of smell. Okay. So in this rhinencephalon is responsible for sense of smell or olfaction, or you can also call it as olfaction. So what are the structures that come under rhinencephalon? First of all, let me give you a list. As I promised, I'll give you a list now, and then I will draw these structures. Okay. So the first important structure over here is olfactory bulb. Okay. After this olfactory bulb, the second important structure which you would see is olfactory tract. And after this olfactory tract, the next important thing will be pre-piriform area. After the pre-piriform area, you have got piriform area. Okay. Now within this piriform area, you have got four important structures. So what are the four important structures that are located within this piriform area? The first important structure which we have within this piriform area is anterior perforated substance. Anterior perforated substance. Okay, anterior perforated substance we have got in the piriform area. And after that, the next important thing is anterior part of the parahippocampal gyrus. Anterior part of parahippocampal gyrus, anterior part of the parahippocampal gyrus. Third important thing which we have over here is uncus, and the fourth important thing which we have over here is amygdaloid body. Amygdaloid body. Okay, so these are the four important parts. Now after these four important parts, now let us discuss about the fifth important one. The fifth important is hippocampal formation. Hippocampal formation. Okay, after that the sixth important part is paraterminal gyrus. Paraterminal gyrus. And the next seventh important thing is fornix. And the last important thing over here will be habenular nuclei. Habenular nuclei. Okay, so these are some of the very important structures that are belonging to what? That belong to your rhinencephalon. So all these structures together, they share a common function, that is sense of smell, which is also called as olfaction. Now let us one by one see what are these structures, how are these structures. I mean, I will draw all these structures right now, and then let us see where are these structures exactly located. Okay, so first of all, let me draw the inferior surface of the brain so that it would be easy to figure out the remaining structures as well. So this is your inferior surface of your brain. Now in this inferior surface of the brain, these are your cerebral hemispheres like this. Okay, so in this inferior surface of your brain, these are your cerebral hemispheres. Now exactly here, if you see exactly here, the first important thing, okay, what is the first important thing? The first important part which we have is olfactory bulb. Okay, so where is olfactory bulb located? See, this is your olfactory bulb. So one we have on the right, one we have got on the left. So these are two of your olfactory bulbs. So we are done with the olfactory bulb. After the olfactory bulb, what is the second part in the rhinencephalon? We have got olfactory tract. Okay, so after this olfactory bulb, we have got this tract which is coming down all the way, and this tract over here is called as your olfactory tract. Now this olfactory tract will end up in a structure over here, in a swollen like structure over here. This swollen like structure is called as olfactory trigone. Okay, so let me name these parts right now. So this one over here is called as your olfactory bulb, and this one over here is called as your olfactory tract. This is called as your olfactory tract, and this portion over here is called as olfactory trigone. Olfactory trigone. Okay, so this is your olfactory trigone. Now just in front of this olfactory bulb and olfactory tract, here you have got a small area. Just in front of this, just in front of the olfactory tract, you have got a small area. This area is called as prepiriform area, right? So what is this area over here called as? This area over here is called as prepiriform area. This area over here is called as prepiriform area. Next, after this prepiriform area, and by the way, did we discuss this? Yeah. So the third area over here will cover your prepiriform area. Now after this prepiriform area, down here there are three important structures like this. These three important structures are called as striae. These three important things over here are called as striae. How many striae are there? We have got three striae. One striae is located completely laterally. It means this one. See, this striae is located completely lateral. Here also it is completely located lateral. And this striae is located in the middle, and this striae is located medially. So how many striae do we have? We have got three different types of striae. One group of striae on right and left, they are located laterally. These are called lateral striae. Next we have got one in the center. This is called as the intermediate striae. Another in the middle, another medially located. These are called as medial striae. Okay. So these three important structures are called as striae. So there are three important striae. What are these three? One is called as the lateral striae. Okay. Another one is called as the intermediate striae. and the third one is called as your medial striae. Medial striae. So these are the three different types of striae. Just beneath the striae, you have got another important structure like this. This structure which I am drawing in below these striae is called as anterior perforated substance. Okay. So what is this structure over here called as? This structure over here is called as anterior perforated substance. Anterior perforated substance. Okay. Now, one very important thing you have to remember over here is that through this anterior perforated substance, there are two important arteries that are coming up. So, what are these perforated substance in the sense? There are perforations, there are like minute holes here. Okay. So, I have drawn like this. So, let me change the picture. So, actually there are minute holes over here. So, you need to just figure out those holes like this. You see, small perforations are there over here, right? So these small perforations over here are called as your anterior perforated substance. Now in this anterior perforated substance, there are two important arteries. One is called as middle cerebral artery, another one is called as anterior cerebral artery. So in the discussion of circle of Willis over here, we discussed two important arteries. You see, this artery which I have discussed in the previous lecture is called as anterior cerebral artery, and this artery which you can see right now over here is called as your middle cerebral artery. So middle cerebral artery and anterior cerebral artery, from where are they coming? They are entering or they are piercing through this anterior perforated substance. Okay. So from this, the anterior and middle cerebral arteries pass. Anterior and middle cerebral arteries, they pass through this anterior perforated substance. Next, after that, we have got a next important structure over here. This one over here on the right side, right? This is called as a right optic nerve. Okay. Next, we have got left optic nerve, right optic nerve and left optic nerve. Now, right and left optic nerve together, what will happen? They join like this, and this right optic nerve, left optic nerve, they will partially cross over, partially dissociate. Okay, they will partially dissociate or they partially cross over, and the left will come onto the right, right will come onto the left like this. Okay. Now, this center dot which I am putting right now, this center dot is nothing but called as your optic chiasma. Okay. And the upper two things are called as optic nerves. For example, see, this one over here is called as your optic nerve. Optic nerve. Which optic nerve? This is the right optic nerve. On the other hand, what do you have? That is the left optic nerve. And down here, what is this? This is called as optic tract. Optic tract. Right optic tract, left optic tract. Okay. Now, just beneath all of these things, you have got a body like this. So this body is called as tuber cinereum. So behind the optic chiasm, what do you have? You have got tuber cinereum. So if you remember, we have drawn a picture over here. In this picture over here, see, you see this structure over here which you can see. This is called as your optic chiasma. You see this structure, right? Behind this optic chiasma, what is this violet thing? This violet one is called as tuber cinereum. Behind the tuber cinereum, what do you have? This red color thing you have. This red color thing is nothing but called as mammillary bodies. Okay. So let us go back to the picture over here. So here I was telling you, behind this green color thing over here, right? So this is your tuber cinereum. Behind this tuber cinereum, you have got two important structures like this. What are these two important structures? These two important structures are called as your mammillary bodies. Now behind this mammillary bodies, you have got another perforation. Behind this mammillary bodies also, you have got perforations like this. These perforations are called as posterior perforated substance. Okay, so let me label these things down. So this one over here, you call it as tuber cinereum. This one over here is called as mammillary bodies. Mammillary bodies, and these structures over here is called as a posterior perforated substance. posterior perforated substance. Now behind this posterior perforated substance, here you have got this particular structure over here. This is called as your midbrain. Okay, behind this you have got this particular structure over here. This part over here is called as your midbrain, and midbrain is having a small opening in the center. What is this? This is called as cerebral aqueduct. Now let us just name all these structures over here. Let us see. Olfactory bulb, you know where it is. Olfactory tract also, you know. Pre-piriform area I have just shown you. You see, this is your pre-piriform area. Okay. After this pre-piriform area, next you have got piriform area. Piriform area is consisting of what? One is anterior perforated substance. Where is this anterior perforated substance? This one. So we have discussed about this anterior perforated substance. Okay. Now after anterior perforated substance, we have got anterior part of parahippocampal gyrus, we have got uncus, we have got amygdaloid body. So these three things we did not discuss, right? So for these three things, I will have to draw another important picture from the medial side. Where you have medial side in the sense, what do you have there? You have got your corpus callosum and all, right? So that picture I will draw, and then I will explain you where is this anterior part of parahippocampal gyrus, uncus, amygdaloid body present. Okay, and later on we shall also discuss about paraterminal gyrus, fornix as well as habenular nucleus. Clear? So till where are you all clear right now? So one we have discussed is your olfactory bulb. Okay, so after this olfactory bulb, the next one is olfactory tract, next is pre-piriform area, and next here is anterior perforated substance. So till here I hope all of you are clear. Now let me draw another picture and then explain you the remaining parts over here. Okay, so this picture which I am drawing right now, this picture I hope everyone is perfectly clear about this picture if you have watched my previous lectures. Okay, because I have drawn this picture a couple of times in the previous lectures. So yeah, again I have to draw this to explain this. Okay, so for those of you who are watching this video for the first time, and if this is your first video, then this picture is really needed for you, right? So we are exactly drawing the medial surface of the cerebral hemispheres. What do you mean by the medial surface? For example, these are your cerebral hemispheres like this, right? This is your right cerebral hemisphere, this is your left cerebral, right cerebral hemisphere, left cerebral hemisphere. Both the cerebral hemispheres are joined together like this. Now this side which you can see, right, this entire part, this is called as the, what is this called as? This is called as a suprolateral surface. This is also called as a suprolateral surface. Then where is the medial surface? If I divide this both cerebral hemispheres and I show you the inner part, this inner part is called as a medial surface. Now I am going to put it on the paper, the medial part of what? Medial part of the cerebral hemispheres, and then discuss the structures which are present over there. Okay, right. Now coming to the medial part of the cerebral hemispheres. So let us say this is your medial part. Now how will you finish up the medial part? How will you finish up the medial part is that in the center over here, you have got a structure like this, and this structure you call it as corpus callosum. Okay, this structure which you can see in the center is called as corpus callosum. Now in this corpus callosum, you have got two more important structures. What are these two more important structures? You see a red color body right now. Now you will see a red color body which I am drawing right now over here, right? And at the same way I am also drawing a green color structure which is present on the back. Now this entire ring like structure, semi ring like structure is called, or half moon like structure is called as corpus callosum. In this corpus callosum, you see this red color structure. So this red color structure, whatever is there here, this is called as the genu, G-E-N-U, G-E-N-U. Okay, just beneath this genu, you have a structure that is just beneath this genu, you have got a structure that is hanging down like this. This structure over here is called as a rostrum. Okay, so what is this structure over here called as? This structure over here is called as rostrum. Rostrum. Okay, just beneath the rostrum, you have got another structure like this. This structure over here is called as your what? This is called as your anterior commissure. Okay, this structure over here is called as your anterior commissure. This structure over here is called as your anterior commissure. Now, just beneath your anterior commissure, you have got another green color structure over here, right? So, what is this green color structure? This green color structure over here is called as your linea terminalis. This is called as your linea terminalis. This is your linea terminalis. Okay. Now, another important structure that is present horizontally in this way, like this, right? This structure which is horizontally present, this is called as what? This is called as your fornix. And not to forget that above your fornix, you have got another structure in this way, right? What is this called as? This is called as your septum pellucidum, right? So, this one is called as your septum pellucidum, and this double layered structure which I have drawn down, this is called as your fornix. Okay. So, let me write it down. Okay, I'll write it down later on. Let me finish up the picture. So, this is called as your fornix. Now, second important thing is that now surrounding your corpus callosum all along from the genu all along like this, surrounding your corpus callosum. And by the way guys, if you are watching this lecture, if you are making the notes along with me, I want you to just write it down or take a photo or a screenshot, whatever it is, or better you take a photo instead of a screenshot, because I'm going to rub these names over here so that it would be better for me to draw. Okay, you're done. So now what I will do is, now let me rub out these lines over here. Now look here, from this genu, the red color one is genu, from the genu all the way down till here, this particular sulcus whatever I have drawn here, which is surrounding your corpus callosum, this is called as callosal sulcus. Okay, so what is this sulcus? What is this sulcus called as? This sulcus is called as callosal sulcus. Okay. Now, after this callosal sulcus, and by the way, all of you should know, if you have watched my previous lectures, that in the center we have got a sulcus called as central sulcus. Okay. Right. Next important sulcus also starts from the part here, genu part here, but little bit farther away laterally. And this part goes up all the way like this, all the way, and it joins onto the cortex. Okay, so this sulcus which I have drawn over here is called as your cingulate sulcus. What is this? This is called as your cingulate sulcus. So let us just name this out here. So this sulcus over here is called as your cingulate sulcus. Cingulate sulcus over here. Now after this cingulate sulcus, this sulcus over here which you can see is called as callosal sulcus. Okay. This is called as your callosal sulcus. Okay. Next important thing is that if you can see clearly that you can actually see one more sulcus that is coming all the way down like this, right? So this sulcus which is coming all the way down is called as suprasplenial sulcus. Why it is called suprasplenial sulcus? Because one very important thing you have to see over here is that this red color one is called as genu, right? But this green color one which you can see here, this green color structure is called as your what? This is called as your splenium. Okay. So this green color structure which you can see over here, right here, this is called as your splenium. And this sulcus is present right above the splenium. So you call this sulcus as suprasplenial sulcus. Okay. So this is your suprasplenial sulcus. So let me write it down anyway. So this one over here is your suprasplenial sulcus. So the sulcus and gyri on the medial surface. So in that topic I have discussed all these things. Okay, right. And yeah, by the way, this entire thing which I have just told you, this is your corpus callosum. This red color thing over which I am drawing here is your corpus callosum. Okay, right. Next important thing over here is that you see this blue color lining which I am doing, this blue color shade, right? So what is this blue color shade which I am drawing right now? This blue color shade is nothing but called as your cingulate gyrus. You see, this entire blue color shade is called as your cingulate gyrus. Okay, so this part over here is called as your cingulate gyrus. This is called as your cingulate gyrus. Right. Anyways, so we discussed these things here. Right. Now, the next important thing I want to discuss here is a little bit more important part. What is this important part? We even have got some more sulcus over here. For example, let us say, you see this sulcus over here, right? So this sulcus which I have drawn over here is called as a rhinal sulcus, right? So what is this sulcus over here? This sulcus over here is called as rhinal sulcus. So this is called as rhinal sulcus. Okay. Now after this rhinal sulcus, the next important sulcus over here, just look here now. The next important sulcus over here is a C. This sulcus which I am drawing right now is called as parieto-occipital sulcus. After that, this sulcus which I am drawing right now over here is called as calcarine sulcus. Okay. So this is your parieto-occipital sulcus as well as calcarine sulcus. So let me write it that also. So this sulcus over here is called as parieto-occipital sulcus. And this sulcus over here is called as your calcarine sulcus. Calcarine sulcus. Okay. Next, we have got another sulcus that is all the way drawn parallel to this calcarine sulcus. Okay. So anything which is drawn parallel is called collateral. So that is why the name of this sulcus is collateral sulcus. So the name of this sulcus over here is collateral sulcus. This is called as collateral sulcus. Okay. So these are some of the important sulci which you need to know over here. Now in this important sulci, first of all what we shall do is that we shall just highlight some of the important parts. For example, let us say you see this yellow color structure which I am drawing right now, right? So this yellow color structure is nothing but called as your gyrus. Obviously between the two sulci, what do you have? You have got your gyrus, right? So between the parieto-occipital and calcarine sulcus, you have got a gyrus, and this gyrus is present on the frontal side or occipital side. Obviously this is the occipital side, right? Because in the first class I told you that this pole is called as a frontal pole. This pole over here is called as a temporal pole, and this pole over here is called as a occipital pole. And this sulcus, this gyre, whatever you can see here, this is called as occipital gyrus. You know what is the other name for this? Other name for this is cuneus. C-U-N-E-U-S. The other name for this is cuneus. Okay. Now, in front of the cuneus, which means exactly here, you see, in front of the cuneus, this structure, whatever you have got over here, is called as precuneus. So one is called as your cuneus. Now anything in front of the cuneus, you call this structure as what? This structure is called as precuneus. So that is cuneus, and this is called as precuneus. This is called as your precuneus. So one is called as cuneus, another one is called as precuneus. So this sulcus which is parallel to the calcarine one is called as a collateral sulcus. Okay. Now just above this collateral sulcus, we have got this gyrus which you can see here. This gyrus is in the form of a tongue. So you call this as a lingular gyrus. Okay. So what is the name of this? This is called as lingular or lingual gyrus. Lingual gyrus or the lingular gyrus, right? Next important, there is another important gyrus over here. As I have already told you, this is rhinal sulcus, right? Now within the rhinal sulcus over here, you see, enclosed within the rhinal sulcus, you have got another gyrus like this. So this is the gyrus which is enclosed within your rhinal sulcus. Okay. So enclosed within the rhinal sulcus, you have got another important gyrus over here. This gyrus over here is called as your uncus, right? So enclosed within, you have got another important gyrus over here. This gyrus over here is called as your uncus. So this gyrus over here is called as your uncus. So what is this uncus? Uncus is a hook shaped gyrus. Okay, uncus is a hook shaped gyrus. And what is the function of this uncus? Uncus is responsible for olfaction. I will tell you that in a minute. Okay. So this is your uncus. Now you can see this. What is this green color stem like thing? So let me rub this out a little bit so that I could save some space over here. See here now. Here we have got a small structure over here. You see, this structure over here is called as your anterior commissure. Now just beneath your anterior commissure, you have got a small green color stick like thing, right? So this green color stick like thing is nothing but called as your linea terminalis. Okay. Now in front of the linea terminalis, here, exactly here, you have got another piece of gyrus. In front of this linea terminalis, you have got another piece of gyrus. This is called as paraterminal gyrus. What is this green one? Green one is called as linea terminalis. So near this terminalis, anything you have is paraterminal, right? So this gyrus is called as paraterminal gyrus. So this particular gyrus over here is called as your paraterminal gyrus. Paraterminal gyrus. Okay. Now this is your paraterminal gyrus. This is done, right? Now another important thing you need to know here is that here exactly, if you see here, yeah, exactly here I'm drawing something with a green color thing, a small gyrus which is in the form of a box which I'm drawing. So this structure which I'm drawing right now is called as your isthmus. Okay. Just in front of this isthmus, you have got another important gyrus like this. This gyrus is called as parahippocampal gyrus. So what will be this gyrus called as? This gyrus over here is called as your parahippocampal gyrus. So this one over here is your parahippocampal gyrus. Okay. So this green one over here is called as your isthmus. And this one in front of the isthmus is called as your parahippocampal gyrus. Parahippocampal gyrus, right? Right. So these are some of the structures which you need to know. And final important thing which you have to know over here is that what is this kind of gyrus which you have over here? You see, just above the cingulate gyrus, this gyrus which you are having here. And by the way, this entire picture is a medial side or a lateral side picture. Yes, the entire picture is representing your medial or lateral side. Obviously, this is a medial side. Wherever corpus callosum is present, that will be your medial side, right? And so this gyrus should also be named as medial, right? It should be named as medial. And this gyrus is present in the frontal region. So you have to call it as medial frontal gyrus. Medial frontal gyrus, right? Next important thing, the last important gyrus which you need to know here is that, you see, this is your central sulcus. This black color one over here is called as your central sulcus. So anything surrounding is called paracentral. Yes or no? So here also we have drawn something called as linea terminalis. Anything surrounding is called para, right? That is why you have written it as paraterminal gyrus. So here also there is central sulcus. So what I am trying to tell you is that surrounding this central sulcus, if there is any structure like this, you see there is a U-shaped gyrus. What is this gyrus? This gyrus is in the form of a U-shaped. And where is this gyrus surrounding? This gyrus is surrounding around the central sulcus. So anything surrounding is called para. So that is why this gyrus is called as paracentral gyrus. This gyrus is called as paracentral gyrus. This gyrus over here is called as your paracentral gyrus. So these are some of the very important sulci and gyrus which you need to know. Okay. Now what we shall do is that let us go back to that picture which I have drawn there, the text which I have written there, and then let us look back to all of the structures. So these are the shaded structures. These shaded structures we have already discussed. Second important thing is that here, what are the structures? Olfactory bulb you have seen, olfactory tract you have seen, prepiriform area also you have seen, anterior perforated substance you have seen, right? Now let us come across the second important thing. In the piriform area, anterior perforated substance you have seen. Second is anterior part of parahippocampal gyrus. What is this? Anterior part of your parahippocampal gyrus. So where is this anterior part of parahippocampal gyrus? Let us go back to the picture. First of all, let us see where is this anterior, where is this parahippocampal gyrus? You see, this structure over here is your parahippocampal gyrus. Now there it was written that anterior part of parahippocampal, anterior part in the sense, see this one. Yeah, You see this part which I am highlighting right now, you see this? This part which I am highlighting right now is called as your anterior part of parahippocampal gyrus, right? So this part over here is your what? This part over here is your anterior part, anterior part of what? Of which gyrus? Of parahippocampal gyrus. So that is responsible for what? Olfaction. Okay. So I hope you understood where is this anterior part of parahippocampal gyrus. After that, we have to come across the next important gyrus, that is your uncus. Where is this uncus located? Let us see here. Yeah, so we got this. You see, a hook-shaped gyrus is called as uncus. Where is it located? It is located within the rhinal sulcus. Okay, so this is one part. And next important part over here is amygdaloid body. Where is this amygdaloid body, by the way? Where do we get this amygdaloid body? Now, in another picture, you would see here is that let us say that this structure which I am drawing right now, an egg-like structure which I am drawing right now, is called as your thalamus. Okay, all of you know we have got thalamus, we have got hypothalamus. Where is this thalamus and hypothalamus located? It is located within the diencephalon. All of you know that. So this is your thalamus, let us say. Surrounding this thalamus, you have got a structure in this way. You see this structure, right? So what is this structure that is surrounding the thalamus? This structure over here is called as caudate nucleus, right? So this structure over here is called, this one is called as your caudate nucleus. And what is this called? This is called as your thalamus. Now this caudate nucleus has got some very important points. For example, let us say that this part which I am highlighting right now, this is called as the head of the caudate nucleus. And after the head, this entire part, whatever you can see right now here, this is called as the body of the caudate nucleus. So one is called as the head of the caudate nucleus, another one is called as the body of the caudate nucleus. And next important thing is that the last part which you can see over here is called as the tail of the caudate nucleus. So what are the three different parts of caudate nucleus we have got? We have got something called as the head of the caudate nucleus, we have got the body of the caudate nucleus, we have got the tail of the caudate nucleus. Near the tip of the tail, you have got a body like this. This body which you can see near the tip of the tail is what is called as your amygdaloid body, right? So this body is called as amygdaloid body. Okay, so this particular structure which I have drawn over here is called as your amygdaloid body. Now, this amygdaloid body is what is responsible for what? It is what is responsible for olfaction. Okay, so I hope you understood where is your amygdaloid body located, right? So next important structure is amygdaloid body. We are done. So we have discussed about where is anterior part of the parahippocampal gyrus. We have discussed where is this uncus. We have also discussed where is this amygdaloid body. Next, coming to this hippocampal formation, I just want you to remember that there is something called as hippocampal formation. In next lectures, in detailedly, I will tell you where is this hippocampal formation located. Okay, so just remember like that. Now, I cannot show it to you in this picture. Next important thing is paraterminal gyrus. Where is this paraterminal gyrus? I think we have discussed, right? You see this part over here is called as parahippocampal gyrus. Now, in front of the parahippocampal gyrus, do you see a green color stalk? This green color stalk is called as linea terminalis. In front of this green color stalk, you can see some red color dot. That red color dot is what is called as your what? This one, paraterminal gyrus. Okay, you see this red color dot over here. This is called as your paraterminal gyrus. So I hope now you understood where is this paraterminal gyrus located. And fornix and habenular nuclei. So now where is this fornix located? So all of you see this is your fornix. Now this area which I will be highlighting, that will be your fornix. See this green color area which I have highlighted over here, this is your fornix. Okay, and where is your habenular nuclei? If you remember that exactly at this place, I cannot draw the picture now and make it messy, but exactly at that place I have drawn the habenular nuclei. I will show you the previous picture right now, right? So here, yeah, in this picture if you can see here, this is called as habenular commissure. Okay, So this habenular, both the habenular nuclei join together to form your habenular commissure, right? So this is what is called as your habenular nuclei. So what are the structures which we have discussed, guys? So first important structure which we have discussed today is your olfactory bulb, right? Next you have got olfactory tract. After olfactory bulb and olfactory tract, we have discussed something called as pre-piriform area. After pre-piriform area, we have discussed piriform area. Within this piriform area, there are four important structures. One is called as anterior perforated substance, right? Next important thing we have discussed is, we have discussed this anterior part. You see, anterior part of what? Anterior part of parahippocampal gyrus. We have also discussed something called as uncus. We have also discussed something called as paraterminal gyrus. So these are the structures which are located within the within the piriform area. Now after this we have discussed some other structures. What are these other structures which we have discussed? One we have discussed is fornix, we have discussed paraterminal gyrus and all, right? We even have discussed about amygdaloid body. So all these structures, I have just shown you the pictures of these structures, right? How to draw and all. So these structures which I have just explained you, they are a part of the rhinencephalon and they are responsible for sense of smell or olfaction. Tomorrow if someone asks you what is the use of this amygdaloid body, one of the action will be olfaction. If someone asks you what is the function of the fornix, there might be many functions, but one of the function is sense of smell or olfaction. Clear all of you? So these are some of the very important structures which we have discussed in a rhinencephalon over here, right? So thank you so much for watching my video. Goodbye.